The Nine of Cups is known as happiness, and this is actually quite a simple card really. It carries a basic message of which we can all relate to, and the symbolism is really actually quite straightforward once we understand it. And so on the Rider-Waite card we can see that the character is looking almost quite smug really, but they've built themselves their own creation, and the rest of the world is veiled off from outside, and they are facing forwards, they're facing what they have created, and they're saying essentially that it is good. And we can see that on the Tree of Life as well, in that we return to Yesod, and yet we're back on the middle pillar, and so this means that we've found stability. So the previous card showed an excess in debauchery, and then also a barrenness or an under-appreciation of things with the indolence. And so we've risen above that, and we've come back to the middle pillar, which of course is the middle way. You have neither too much nor too little. We could think of it almost as the Goldilocks formula of this particular suit of cards. We've found the perfect way to experience and to express whatever we wanted to actually express. Astrologically, it's Jupiter in Pisces, and this is really good because Jupiter rules Pisces, and so they complement each other and they work together really well. And so Jupiter astrologically loves luxury and things like that, and also generosity and optimism. Jupiter is the giver of blessings, and of course Pisces is spiritual and artistic and intuitive, and so working together they show an abundance of love and of compassion, which of course are some of the best things that can be manifested in the world. And so really they are working together and showing perhaps a real type of true happiness, away from the overindulgence or the underindulgence that we saw in the previous cards. The actual layout of the cards is quite straightforward here. As I say, the cups are arranged in a square, so 3 horizontal lines of 3 cups, so it's a perfection that we have there. And the square is, just as we've seen on the Tree of Life, stability. The square is the building block of the physical world, and in many regards a lot of things that we see around us are kind of formed physically out of like these little squares, little cubes of molecules and of energy. If you can see that in polygons in the digital world, so like all the graphics are built out of all these millions of little polygons coming together to actually form a shape of which we understand as a person or as a flower or whatever it may be. And so that's actually another way of looking at the square formation of the cups here as well. It's like we've brought all these little parts, which in their individual form are just bits of energy and vibration, frequency, and yet we've brought them all together and formed them into the shape of the universe that we're experiencing. And so another way of seeing this square shape is that it represents that of manifestation, and a completed and finished manifestation of which has perhaps had to come through a type of turmoil to get to it. So we could have overindulged like we had previously, and then we've said we're overindulging and we've gone totally the other way and had nothing at all. And none of those are right. None of those are the right formula that will manifest what we actually want. We have to be stable, and we have to work through whatever it is that we're going through so that we can actually manifest that on the other side. And of course we can see that here because the cups are finally resting back on a calm ocean, a calm sea. The storm has finally passed. So in previous cards we saw stormy weather upsetting the balance of the cups, and yet now we are back to a calmness and a serenity, almost as if the storms that happened previously are long forgotten, or maybe we only imagined them. And indeed, that's what it can feel like when we've finally manifested what we want, when we've finally got our desires in that respect. It can actually feel like that. And so the cups are finally overflowing again, and they're overflowing with this wonderful golden outpouring of liquid, which is like a type of light. And so it would be formed from Kether at the top of the Tree of Life, which is this white beautiful light. And this here, this outpouring of energy from the cups is infused with the sun, and with warmth and compassion, like what we've been saying there. And so it's love. The light coming out of these cups is love, and it flows down into the sea at the bottom, which is the waters of Pisces. And of course 9 is also ruled by the moon. 9 is the number of the moon, and so we have intuition, and we have just that, just that feeling in our heart that all is well, that feeling of a love of which transcends the physical world and the things around us, even though when we pick those things up we can love them too, because they mean something to us and they deliberately induce that feeling in our heart. And so we've come to understand that on this card. The cups themselves are kind of formed of this crystalline looking substance. They look like they've been hard cut out of crystal glass. And this is, as well as the physical world, this shows the beauty of the physical world, and that we are finally seeing the things around us not just as things, but as things that have that light in them as well, because they've probably been made out of a type of love in themselves in some way, even if it's just the love of a basic comfort, for example, in our lives. And so we're seeing that everywhere, and we can see that on the card. All of the overflowings of this liquid or this light are crossing over and through each other, and so we're seeing the element of it in everything all around us, which of course is very, very positive. And so to draw this card really is a good omen. It's a lovely card to get, and it can show that you have achieved something almost like a wish come true, or that you're standing on the precipice of that wish coming true, so it's going to happen at any moment, and that you should feel good about it. You shouldn't be worried about it coming. You should instead embrace it, with that open heart of love, like we've been saying. And it can also be, because it's about stability, it can be like the stability of home or the stability of family, and it's asking us to look at that and to not take it for granted, which is something that people do. They take things for granted because they're around us all the time, and if they're taken away, then suddenly we realise what we've lost. And so it's saying to take real joy in that stability of life that we have, and perhaps things can't be better than what they are. There's this idea that the grass is always greener on the other side, or I'll be happy when I've got this, or I'll be happy when I've paid off this debt, or when this problem in my life is solved. And there's always going to be some type of daft thing, some stupid thing from the physical world that's annoying us or tying us down, but it passes, it's transient. But we have the stability of home, family, whatever it is, career, whatever it is that inspires you to get up in the morning and say, this is it. This is our life here in this very moment, right now, as we're watching this video. It maybe doesn't get better than this, because we have in our hearts the power of love, of which really has formed everything around us anyway. And so when we feel that, we connect to everything in the entire universe.